Hey everyone, this is Laura Gadenik with Laura Gadenik Astrology, and I'm here in Idaho right now on some friends' land to soak in some natural hot springs. So that's where I'm hanging out. I'm in this hammock. It's really pretty here. But I'm here to give you the astrology for the weeks of October 3rd through the 16th, 2022. So we're just coming off of Mercury stationing direct. Today, the day that I'm recording this on Sunday, the 2nd of October, and Mercury is stationing direct in Virgo in an opposition to Neptune, which Neptune can always bring some fogginess or confusion. But remember, this is the second time that Mercury is in this position with Neptune. The last time was around August 21st, August 22nd. So this might be a moment of having some clarity around what was happening back then on August 21st or 22nd. Some clarity on what was confusing before, sorting through the fog. And yeah, that's oftentimes when a planet returns to a transit for the second or third time, there's like resolution or the ending of a particular narrative or a story. But it could still be a bit kind of like, you know, it might be hard to focus on details or hard to get things done or to be productive. And so it's really a day to give yourself a break, a mental break, and engage in dreams as much as possible. And then Thursday, the 6th, Mercury makes a trine to Pluto. This is always a good aspect for having deeper conversations, having honest time with someone, cathartic truth-telling, journaling, getting to the bottom of something. And it could have to do with a relationship or sorting through some sort of hurt, just because on Friday the 7th, the Sun in Libra makes an opposition to Chiron in Aries. Chiron is an asteroid about where we might feel some pain or woundedness. So it might be like a little bit of a relational dynamic that you're sorting through. Could have to do with the house that has Libra and or Aries on the cusp. So if that's like 11th house, it might be like a friend. If it's 7th house, it might be a partner or more of a romantic relationship. It's not a huge deal. I would just say Venus makes the same aspect to Chiron on Monday the 10th. So it might be kind of like a next weekend kind of dynamic that you're navigating some sort of, maybe someone's feelings got hurt and it's just a matter of like talking about it kind of thing. Not like the biggest or most major astrology that we've ever had. So not too much to worry about really. Just an opportunity to talk about something that might be more difficult or touchy. So yeah, that's Friday the 7th. I also want to mention the Sun and Venus are going to be traveling very closely together in Libra until the 22nd of October, which is when they'll be making their conjunction or cazimi at 29 degrees of Libra. So this is a really, really nice, pleasant, easeful time. And there's a lot of the energy is to focus on joy, on pleasure, on love, on connection, on what gives you a sense of ease and relaxation. Venus is in her own sign of Libra for the next 3 weeks or so. And just having the Sun right next to Venus in her own sign, the sign that she rules, is just really, really nice. And then the Sun and Venus do move together into Scorpio, where they are also conjoined. And a couple days later, we have an eclipse I believe it's in Scorpio at 2 degrees of Scorpio. So that'll be a whole different dynamic, a whole different vibe. Perhaps some major changes. Eclipses always indicate major changes, major beginnings and endings. And in this case, because Venus is involved, it might have to do with relational dynamics and beauty and love and getting into the deeper stuff that can be sometimes hard or painful or challenging. But in the meantime, like, I don't want you to worry about that or necessarily even think about that. In the meantime, up until the 22nd of October, we're kind of meant to really enjoy a more easeful ride and to enjoy the more lightheartedness of connections and to have fun and focus on all the pleasurable, joyful things that we have or are in or are enjoying right now. So, but just knowing that when Venus and the Sun move together into Scorpio and then there's that eclipse, that there is going to be moments of more intensity in relationships and, things becoming a bit more serious, and getting to the nitty gritty in terms of what one's deepest wounds are, how one might get hurt in a relationship, and maybe a conversation around triggers or anxieties, etc. So anyway, but until then, please enjoy this lovely Venus Sun energy in Libra. And that's going to also look different for you depending on what house has Libra on the cusp. So for me, Libra is my 5th house of children, joy, fun, pleasure, games, love. It's like Venus actually has her joy in the 5th house. And so it's a lot of Venusian topics for me that I'm going to be experiencing over the next couple weeks. However, if this was someone who had, Libra on the cusp of the 2nd house, this might be more about money, finances, maybe joining forces with another woman or femme person around a business or something, or perhaps redecorating your house or buying new things. The 2nd house is the house of things and one's possessions, to make one's space more beautiful and luxurious. So it could be a lot of different things. Okay, Monday the 10th, Mercury heads into Libra. That's when Venus also makes that opposition to Chiron. So this feels kind of like a moment of negotiating, or navigating, negotiating something in a relationship or friendship, or any sort of more contractual relationship you might have with someone, where there are agreements and boundaries and kind of terms to the relationship. Tuesday the 11th, this is interesting. The Sun in Libra makes a trine to Saturn. This brings a real stabilizing effect. Sun and Saturn feels like this moment of helping you to achieve something or make something real, make something tangible, having realistic goals or a mindset, being able to work hard on something with more sustained energy. However, on the same day, Mars is making an exact square to Neptune. So this could also have the effect of feeling like your energy is going in confusing directions or not quite sure where you're wanting to apply your energy. It could feel like you're shooting an arrow through the fog, right? You're kind of if Mars is kind of oh, where am I aiming my efforts and my energy and my ambitions? Neptune is everywhere or nowhere, or you can't see clearly where you're headed. So it can be a little confusing. On the other hand, Neptune represents our dreams, our ideals, our aspirations, what we long for and glamorize. And so this could also be a time period where you're really working towards a dream, or you're driven by a sense of purpose, a sense of dream, a sense of longing. You're being enamored by something or pulled towards something based on, it could be based on illusion, or it could be based on your heart's longing and what a world that is possible, or something that is possible. And it could be a little bit of both or all of those things. And really, we're going to be feeling this Mars square Neptune for all of October and all of November, because Mars is slowing down to station retrograde. That's happening at 25 degrees of Gemini. Neptune is about, I think, at around 22 degrees of Pisces. And so whenever a planet slows down to station retrograde or direct, whenever it stations retrograde or direct, it slows down immensely. And so that's why we're going to be feeling this energy for a while, for, once again, all of October, November. And we'll feel it again when Mars is back in this position in January, I believe. So kind of take note of what is pulling your heartstrings, what is ebbing you or edging you to go after. What feels good to pursue, and why, and what do you long for? What are your dreams? And it could be a time to apply your energy or effort towards those things, and also keeping one hand or foot on the ground, so to speak. And that, I think that's what this Sun trine Saturn might be helping us to do, is keeping a realistic perspective. However, Mars Neptune is way longer than the Sun Saturn aspect, so just something to keep in mind. Okay, so Wednesday the 12th, Mercury in Libra opposes Jupiter in Aries. This is about having big ideas, enthusiasm, having to balance something, which might be difficult because Jupiter's usually a planet about being all in and like, let's go, 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 especially in the sign of Aries, which is a fire sign. It's like, let's grow big right now. Let's just do it. And then Mercury in Libra is kind of the more thinking, planning, kind of like, well, what about this? And what about that? Let's think about all perspectives and all sides. And does that work for this person over there? You know, Libra being a very considerate sign that wants to maintain relationship and maintain ties and be polite and have etiquette. And so there might be this like energy of push and pull between going out on one's own or just doing the big idea, and then the need for some like forethought or planning or considering other people's plans, visions, needs, etc. This could be time of philosophical debates or conversations, or a desire to study or kind of apply your mental energy towards a spiritual study or topic. And, you know, Mercury, when Mercury stationed retrograde, it was in this like loose opposition to Jupiter for like 2 weeks. So thinking back to, when was that? This was early September. I think it was like, honestly, like the first 2 weeks, maybe like the last week of August, first week of September, or like, I don't have the dates in front of me right now, but think back to early September, especially that first week. It could be bringing back up topics, themes, conversations that you were having then. And this might be a time, once again, of resolution, of moving forward, of having kind of clarity, or, you know, part 3 to the story. It also doesn't have to. It's not always like that, but sometimes it is. But it does feel like there's like big ideas coming into the picture, and perhaps a sense of overwhelm with having so many good things at your disposal. I remember I was feeling this way. It was my birthday in early September. I have the Mercury opposite Jupiter in my solar return chart, my birthday chart, which is basically like a birth chart for the year. And I remember that time there were so many good things happening, but I felt really overwhelmed because it was like too much. Like my nervous system was like struggling, and I was having a lot of like insomnia and problem sleeping because it was just like so many things, like so many good things. So I'm wondering for me if that's going to be something around like figuring out a good kind of system or flow, or managing all the good things that are coming to me right now. So yeah, it should be overall a really nice aspect on the 12th, Mercury opposite Jupiter. Lots of optimism and perhaps some good news as well. Could be a good time to like apply for a job or ask for something you want, because Jupiter is the kind of the luckiest planet that we have in astrology. So keeping that in mind. And then on Friday the 14th, Venus in Libra makes a trine to Saturn in Aquarius. And this is like really nice stabilizing energy for relationships. This could also be a moment of having or experiencing pleasure from something that takes a long time, from like long-term effort, something that you have to or have had to practice for. I'm thinking like, if you play an instrument that you've been practicing for years, and it's like finally you get to that flow state that's really pleasurable and joyful just from the effort of having practiced for years, right? Saturn is a planet about long-term things that take time and age and practice, and Venus being a planet about pleasure and joy. So pleasure from long-term effort, practice, focus, longevity in relationships, really enjoying or especially appreciating the relationships that have been in your life for a long time. If you meet someone on this day, perchance, that's kind of a good sign for longevity in that particular relationship. So I think that's going to be a really nice energy to work with and be with. So that is the astrology for the next couple weeks. Please reach out if you're interested in a reading. Particularly, I'm available the week of October 9th. So please reach out if you're interested in understanding more about how this astrology and kind of even the longer term transits are impacting you and your chart. I will be back in a couple weeks for the next astrology forecast, and I hope you have a wonderful next 2 weeks.